Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 2, Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 103, 131, Instant Kill. 103rd of Volume 2. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. On the path of cultivation, life and death are commonplace. Madame Tian, please accept my condolences. Li Wei didn't share a deep bond with her, so he found it difficult to empathize. He immediately asked, who is Di Ran? From the group that attacked them in the valley, Li Wei recognized only Shui Qi of the Sui sect and Chen Song of the San Chen Palace, thanks to Shangji's earlier explanation. Zuoqiu Lanlin wiped away her tears and said with resentment, Di Ran is a disciple of Zen master Xin Ku, one of the three great Zen masters of Coffin Mountain. Just like his master, he delights in cannibalism and is utterly ruthless. But he's a second-stage cultivator in the 5 Seas realm, an aberrant humanoid who achieved 9 Springs breakthrough to the 5 Seas, and he's consumed the blood of 2 ancient immortal giant beasts, making him incredibly powerful. As she spoke, Li Wei realized who it was, the aberrant humanoid martial mystic cultivator, nearly 4 meters tall, with a pair of metallic wings. He was wearing fallen spirit skin and flying above the valley when he killed Shangji with metallic feathers that shot from his body. Madame Tian, please don't grieve. I swear I will definitely kill Di Ran. Li Wei's motives were twofold. First, to avenge Shangji, having accepted payment from the deceased. Second, he found the cannibalistic monster utterly repulsive and saw an opportunity to eliminate it. Zuoqiu Lanlin's watery eyes widened in surprise. Of course, she knew, Sima Qin, was just a polite consolation. Di Ran's cultivation and combat prowess had already reached the pinnacle of the second stage of the 5 Seas realm, far beyond what a first-stage martial mystic cultivator like Li Wei could handle. Still, it offered some comfort. The title, Madame Tian, felt strange to Zuoqiu Lanlin, no one had ever addressed her that way before. Li Wei stepped before Zuoqiu Beiming. Seeing his wretched state, he asked, Senior Brother Bai Ming, your fallen spirit skin seems to have been damaged. Is everything alright? Zuoqiu Beiming, deeply shaken, merely glanced at Li Wei without a word. Zuoqiu Beiming possessed the 9 Springs pure immortal physique, a physique that allowed him to break through to the 5 Seas. Though he lacked the 100 meridian veins, he was undoubtedly a promising talent, even among the top-tier heavenly prides of the ancient myriad sects. Yet, on his first independent mission, he had suffered such a crushing defeat, ending up crippled with a broken leg. His will was nearly shattered. How could he find the heart to speak? Zuoqiu Lanlin, deeply worried, said, Senior Brother Bai Ming's leg was severed by Shui Qi of the Sui sect. His fallen spirit skin is shattered, so he can no longer fight. If he uses his spiritual qi, it could cause him to spontaneously combust. Fortunately, you're still alive. If you weren't, I don't know what I would have done. Li Wei pondered inwardly. The current situation was disastrous for the Zuoqiu sect, but it couldn't have been better for the Zhu clan. A crippled Zuoqiu Beiming would harbor immense resentment towards the Sui sect and Coffin Mountain, and this resentment would undoubtedly influence his clan elders and relatives upon his return. Zuoqiu Lanlin's grief over her husband's death would also ignite the anger of some of the Zuoqiu sect's elders. That's why they had to stay alive. They must be saved. Wait for me, Li Wei said. He entered the giant stone statue forest and retrieved Shangji's corpse from the evil camel bell, carrying it on his back. When Zuoqiu Lanlin saw Li Wei returning with Shangji's corpse on his back, she sighed with a bitter smile, as if she had expected it. He's dead too. He was also killed by Di Ran. Li Wei removed the talisman robe from Shangji's body and handed it to Zuoqiu Lanlin. Put this on Senior Brother Bai Ming. It might offer some protection. How did his body end up in this giant stone statue forest? Zuoqiu Lanlin asked curiously. Li Wei didn't bother to explain further, replying casually, I carried him out of the valley. We must bring him back to the Shou tribe for burial. Zuoqiu Lanlin fell silent, her mind racing with thoughts. Her gaze at Li Wei suddenly filled with boundless admiration. At that time, the situation in the valley was so dire that the 3 of them from the Zuoqiu sect didn't even have time to retrieve their high-grade spiritual artifact, the Yin Banner. Yet, Sima Qin had shown unwavering loyalty, refusing to leave his companion's body exposed in the wilderness, no matter how dangerous the situation. After Zuoqiu Lanlin put talisman robe on Zuoqiu Beiming, Li Wei spoke again, we must leave quickly. This giant stone statue forest is not safe. There's a terrifying danger lurking here. But if we leave, we'll die. Di Ran and Chen Song are waiting outside the forest, Zuoqiu Lanlin said, a horrifying image flashing through her mind, her face turning pale. Then we'll just kill them. Li Wei didn't want to linger there, but he also didn't want to reveal his trump cards like the evil camel bell. His gaze fell on the high-grade spiritual artifact, the Heavenflame blade, held by Zuoqiu Beiming. Senior Brother Bai Ming, could you lend me your blade? Zuoqiu Beiming finally reacted, tossing the Heavenflame blade over with a listless sigh, take it. Li Wei picked up the Heavenflame blade and started walking out. I'll go with you. Zuoqiu Lanlan knew that hiding in the stone forest was only a temporary solution. When the immortal mist clouds dissipated tomorrow, if they couldn't descend the mountain in time, the mysterious energy of 33 Li Mountain alone would cause them, as 5 Seas Realm martial mystic cultivators, to spontaneously combust. If that was the case, they might as well fight to the death. If they could take someone down with them, it wouldn't be a complete loss. Even if they ultimately died, at least they could die with dignity, without bringing shame to the ancient myriad sects. No need. You stay and look after senior brother Bai Ming. All 120 meridian veins in Li Wei's body had been forged into gold. The high-grade spiritual artifact Nightwalker's garment and battle blade had pushed his defense, speed, and strength to their absolute peak. He was fully confident in facing any opponent in the second stage of the 5 Seas realm. Zuoqiu Beiming, wielding both high-grade spiritual artifacts, could probably defeat even some martial mystic cultivators in the third realm of the 5 Seas realm. Li Wei emerged from the giant stone statue forest, blade in hand. He stood atop a 2-meter-tall white stone, facing the misty, debris-strewn area. Extending his perception, he called out, "Where is Chen Song? Do you know Chen Jingtang?" A series of whistling sounds echoed through the fog. Chen Song, encased in fallen spirit skin, slowly advanced, knowing Jingtang won't help you. Everyone from the Zuoqiu sect must die. Friendship is worthless in face of life or death. Chen Song, Chen Jingtang, and Chen Wenwu were the only 3 Nine Springs supremes of the younger generation in the Sanchen Palace. Chen Wenwu was slightly older and possessed the highest talent. A 9 Springs pure immortal physique, he ranked among the top 5 young cultivators in Li Province and served as the Sanchen Palace's public face. Li Wei swept his gaze over the blurry figures behind Chen Song and declared proudly, "I'm here to tell you that I killed Chen Jingtang. And you, Chen Song, will die by my blade as well. Are you Sima Qin?" Chen Song's eyes narrowed, and killing intent flared. Li Wei had deliberately provoked Chen Song with his earlier words. When consumed by rage, reason often succumbs to emotion. Whoosh. Li Wei didn't bother to reply. With a single leap, he covered 30 meters. 3 steps later, he stood before Chen Song, his heavenflame blade crackling with intense, scorching flames fueled by spiritual qi. This wasn't ordinary fire, but demon flame. Martial mystic cultivators below the third realm of the 5 Seas realm couldn't resist it with their physical or spiritual powers. Even a slight touch would burn through their flesh and blood. Good. Today, I'll avenge Jingtang. Chen Song waved his arm, and the jade bracelet on his wrist shot out. The bracelet spun rapidly, emitting a brilliant light as it arced erratically through the air. Li Wei bent his leg, crouching to dodge the attack. Then, he slashed horizontally at Chen Song's lower body, releasing a crescent-shaped flame blade energy. Confident in his superior cultivation and abundant spiritual qi, Chen Song stood his ground, activating a palm mirror in his palm. He slammed his palm forward with immense force. A vast surge of palm energy erupted simultaneously with the mirror's radiant light, colliding with the flame blade energy. The resulting energy ripple spread outward in a violent wave. Boom. Both men were forced backward by the impact. As Li Wei retreated, he angled his body to the left, evading the jade bracelet that flew in from behind. He braced himself with his palm, flipped over, and landed several dozen meters away. Chen Song retrieved his jade bracelet, his expression calm and composed, but his heart was roiling with shock. He couldn't accept being evenly matched by someone who had crossed realms to fight him. Although his opponent wielded a high-grade spiritual artifact, at the first stage of the 5 Seas realm, he could barely unleash even a 10% of its power. Chen Song himself carried 3 mid-grade spiritual artifacts, capable of unleashing 20% or 30% of their power. In terms of weaponry, he was clearly superior. No wonder Sima Qin was invincible in the Spring Surge realm. Now that he's entered the 5 Seas realm, he's truly transformed into a dragon. Is he about to gain momentum? Chen Song's expression was grim as he regarded Li Wei as his mortal enemy. Momentum. Then we'll crush him right here. D. Ran's deep, resonant voice echoed from the mist. Whoosh, whoosh. A dense rain of arrows erupted from the fog, accompanied by D. Ran's metallic feathers. Blood mist and crimson scriptures flew from Li Wei's robes. He raised his heavenflame blade before him, and a massive fire shield, larger than a human body, materialized on its surface. Before the arrows could even touch the shield, their tips melted into liquid. The metallic feathers struck the shield, but were deflected by layers of defensive force, unable to reach Li Wei. The arrow rain ceased. Through the fire shield, Li Wei saw Chen Song charging forward on windriding boots, a jade bracelet in one hand and a palm mirror in the other. Above, D. Ran's massive form emerged from the mist, wielding a flaming halberd with unparalleled dominance. 2 against 1. No, it's 8 against 2. Li Wei wasn't here for a fair fight. He was here to kill. With a tap of his insect tube, 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors burst forth, charging toward Diran. They shot out like 7 arrows loosed from a bowstring, whistling through the air with a piercing, dangerous sound. On the ground, Li Wei and Chen Song had only exchanged 3 blows when Diran's screams erupted one after another. The 4-meter-long, nearly 1,000-catty corpse crashed to the ground with a thud. Chen Song and the other martial mystic cultivators in the mist were terrified. How could Diran die so suddenly? They hadn't even seen what those 7 multicolored streaks of light were. Chen Song had seen clearly. They were 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, and his eyes widened in horror. You're an insect tamer. Without a second thought, he turned and fled. What kind of joke was this? Diran was a 9 springs breakthrough to the 5 seas aberrant humanoid, his combat prowess slightly superior to Chen Song's. Yet in a matter of breaths, he had been brutally slain. How could they possibly fight? Li Wei had been hesitant to release the phoenix-winged moth emperors earlier, fearing they would be harmed by the mysterious energy of 33 Li Mountain. But after testing them during yesterday's herb gathering, he knew they could withstand it. Each of the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors was comparable to a successor seed of the same cultivation realm, capable of killing enemies beyond their own level. Their combat prowess was not much weaker than Diran's or Chen Song's. 7 against 1 was naturally effortless. Leave Chen Song to me. You go deal with those martial mystic cultivators in the mist. They must have harvested the immortal haze-tainted herbs. Don't let them escape. Li Wei raised his blade and charged after Chen Song. Xuanhuan Lanlin stood at the edge of the giant stone statue forest, witnessing everything in the mist. She was utterly stunned. Sima Qin had already defied the odds by matching Chen Song's strength despite being a realm lower. But to have raised 7 fierce insects with such terrifying combat power. No, they couldn't be fierce insects. They must be rare insects. Only young, rare insects were capable of entering 33 Li Mountain. The one-legged Xuanhuan Beiming silently appeared behind her, gazing into the mist as the sounds of battle and screams echoed through the air. Lan, our death is imminent. Xuanhuan Lanlin looked at him blankly. Senior brother Bai Ming, what do you mean? Sima Qin will surely defeat them. He's incredibly strong. Words alone are useless when teaching someone, experience is the only true teacher. Xuanhuan Beiming suddenly seemed to mature, his arrogant demeanor completely gone. He forced a bitter smile. Precisely because he's too strong, we're doomed. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 2. Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 104-132 The 10 Directions of the Qi Si. 104th of Volume 2. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. You mean? Xuanhuan Lanlin understood what he was implying, her eyes filled with disbelief. She shook her head. No, that's impossible. Sima Qin is a man of great integrity and noble character. He wouldn't do such a thing. Perhaps he isn't that kind of person yet, still bound by his conscience. But once he comes to his senses, he'll definitely kill us to silence us. His extraordinary innate talent, coupled with the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, and our own weakness and vulnerability. Xuanhuan Beiming continued, if you were in his position, wouldn't you kill us to silence us? And what about the Heavenflame blade and the immortal soil? Wouldn't those tempt him at all? Xuanhuan Lanlin suddenly realized something, her face turning pale. He's won a complete victory in this battle. He's sure to seize a vast amount of spoils. If he takes us back down the mountain, he'll have to share the credit with us. But if he kills us, it's just a matter of swinging his blade a few more times. Xuanhuan Beiming nodded. If we can't go back, 33 Li Mountain will be our burial ground. If we flee now, and there might still be a chance, Xuanhuan Lanlin said. We can't escape. And if we try to flee now, it might just provoke him to kill us to silence us, Xuanhuan Beiming countered. Xuanhuan Lanlin said, perhaps. We're being too cynical. Xuanhuan Beiming replied, if we want to survive, we must prepare for the worst. Lanlin, you possess a pure immortal physique and exceptional beauty. If you were to offer yourself willingly, you might be able to stabilize him. Sima Qin is clearly a greenhorn obsessed with the martial path. If we can make him lose himself in that, he might temporarily forget about killing us to silence us. By the time he descends the mountain, it will be too late for regrets. Ah. Brother Che's body is still warm. Xuanhuan Lanlin gasped, unable to believe he would say such a thing. How could someone who had once been so proud suddenly become so utterly without principles? Then let's just die together. Xuanhuan Beiming sighed. Deep within the mist-shrouded giant stone statue forest, the sound of camel bells grew deafening as lightning crisscrossed the sky. Li Wei had exhausted all his means. Finally, he unleashed the lightning from the black iron seal, reducing Chen Song to a charred husk. He then began searching the corpse. As expected of the team leader. He's carrying 3 mid-grade spiritual artifacts. The San Chen Palace really spared no expense. Li Wei found an intact boundary pouch in Chen Song's embrace. He used his spiritual qi to open it and pulled out 17 crimson haze herbs. So many. Excellent. Li Huai was overjoyed. After thoroughly searching Chen Song's body, he tossed the corpse off the cliff to destroy the evidence and prevent exposure of the evil camel bell and black iron seal. As for the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, he didn't care. Zhuo Qiuting already knew about them anyway. Next, he methodically searched the other corpses, discovering a wealth of crimson haze herbs, golden springs, and spiritual artifacts. Unfortunately, he found no immortal soil, the most precious treasure of all. Li Huai returned the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors to his insect tube and, with a triumphant air, returned to the giant stone statue forest. This single haul alone was enough to make him the richest man in the 5 Seas realm. He secretly pondered whether to strike again. Once he left 33 Li Mountain, Li Prefecture would be teeming with experts. He wouldn't be able to act so brazenly anymore. Upon his return, Li Huai immediately returned the Heavenflame blade. Zhuo Beiming, sitting on the ground as if disaster had struck, hastily said, "I'm as good as crippled now, unable to fight." The Heavenflame blade would be most valuable in the hands of Brother Sima. After all, Shuiqi and that heavenly cliff fox demon are still in the mountains. What if we run into them? That's a good point. I've already cleared everything up in this area. Let's go. We'll head down the mountain now. Li Huai didn't want to waste any more words. He hoisted Shang Ji's corpse onto his back. Noticing Zhuo Lanlan's troubled expression, he reminded her, "Madame Tian, let's go. You carry senior brother Beiming. We're leaving the mountain now." Zhuo Lanlan asked softly, avoiding his gaze. Why not? Li Huai felt puzzled. Did she still want to continue searching for immortal soil? Zhuo Lanlan watched his back as he carried the corpse down the mountain, silently exhaling a sigh of relief. It seemed she had been harboring petty suspicions. If he truly meant them harm, why wouldn't he have struck by now? The two descended the mountain quickly, soon reaching 3 Li Mountain. Li Huai inwardly calculated, having brought them this far, they should be safe. Now, how to separate them without arousing suspicion? He didn't dare face Zhuo Qiuting and planned to leave 33 Li Mountain by a different route. Zhuo Lanlan and Zhuo Beiming, following behind, grew increasingly tense as they descended the mountain, terrified that Sima Qin would realize something and suddenly turn on them. Just as their nerves were stretched taut with anxiety, Li Huai abruptly stopped, slowly turning around to reveal a smile that struck them as utterly sinister. "We're safe enough here," he said, "you two go ahead. I have something to take care of." With that, he stepped back, clearing a path. Zhuo Lanlan's face drained of all color as she shook her head vehemently. Zhuo Beiming forced a dry laugh. "What is it?" Lanlan could lend a hand. Zhuo Lanlan nodded eagerly. Li Huai had already prepared his explanation. If the Sui sect and Heavenly Cliff Ridge people come down the mountain, they'll have to pass through here. I plan to lie in wait, seize the opportunity, and take them out. I can handle it alone. There's no need for you two to stay. Li Huai's words served 2 purposes, to get rid of them and to make another quick fortune. Zhuo Lanlan and Zhuo Beiming stared at him, too terrified to take a step forward. Sima Qin's behavior was utterly abnormal. If he was hunting the Sui sect and Heavenly Cliff Ridge, why would he send them away? It was too deliberate. Realizing his mistake, Li Huai quickly handed over the Heavenflame blade. It's time this returned to its rightful owner. Zhuo Beiming hesitated to accept the knife, suspecting it was a test, or perhaps a sign that the other man was still undecided about killing them. Sometimes, a person's morality, their good and evil, hinges on a single thought. Perhaps it was when he received the knife, or perhaps it was as they descended the mountain. Zhuo Beiming forced a nervous smile. "Brother Sima saved our lives. We have nothing to repay your kindness, so we offer you this knife as a token of our gratitude." Li Huai was taken aback. His impression of Zhuo Beiming shifted instantly. The man might be arrogant, but his clear sense of right and wrong was rare. Who doesn't have flaws in their character? Having already saved them, Li Huai accepted the gift without hesitation, his smile genuine. "I think you're all too tense. We're very close to the foot of the mountain now. There's nothing to fear. Madame Tian, please." Zhuo Lanlan set Zhuo Beiming down and looked at Li Huai with sincere eyes. "We share an irreconcilable hatred with the Sui sect and the Heavenly Cliff sect. I, too, must avenge this grudge. We are teammates, advancing and retreating together, sharing life and death." Zhuo Beiming added, "That's right. With this bond of shared life and death, even after we descend the mountain, we will guard Brother Sima's secret with our lives, never revealing a single word. Senior Brother Beiming, your injuries. It's nothing. No need to rush treatment." Li Huai frowned deeply. "I still can't shake them off. Could Zhuo Beiming really be this loyal? Had I truly misunderstood him before? Alright, the immortal mist clouds will disperse in a day. I expect Shuiqi and the others won't descend the mountain until tomorrow. You two focus on recovering. I'll go rest over there for a bit." Li Huai, carrying Shang Ji's corpse on his back, walked away. He planned to use this time to consume the 5 Seas pill, open his first Qi Si, and attempt to break through to the 5 Seas realm. Once he descended the mountain, he might encounter any kind of expert. If he could officially enter the Five Seas realm, he wouldn't transform into a dragon, but at least he'd have the freedom of the open sky and sea. Reaching a stream, Li Wei set down the corpse and cautiously watched Zuoqiu Beiming and Zuoqiu Ting in the distance, ensuring they wouldn't detect the spatial power of the Buddha's relic. He possessed 3 treasures to aid his breakthrough to the Five Seas realm: the Five Seas pill, the Crimson Haze herbs, and the Buddha's relic. However, he wanted to try using his own strength first. The most crucial step in breaking through to the Five Seas realm was opening the first Qi Si. The Qi Si functions like a furnace, capable of refining spiritual Qi. Spiritual power surges from the acupoints, is channeled to the Qi Si for storage, and refined into purer, higher-grade spiritual Qi. When used to execute martial techniques or activate spiritual artifacts, its power far surpasses that of surging spring realm martial mystic cultivators. Li Wei sat cross-legged, practicing his breathing technique, gradually entering a state of serene naturalness. In this world, only I exist. The outside world vanished. Master Guan had taught him the method for breaking through to the Five Seas realm long ago. It wasn't overly complex. The 10 springs within his body surged one after another, sending spiritual power into the 120 meridian veins, where it circulated throughout his body. After several cycles, Li Wei used the breakthrough method to guide the process. The first meridian vein split off a branch, connecting to the first lung lobe. Then, the second meridian vein split off a branch. The third meridian vein split off a branch. This was a slow and exhausting process. Each meridian vein had to split off a branch to connect to the future Qi Si. These branches were called string bridges, like the strings of a zither connecting the Qi Si to the meridian veins. If any of these string bridges were severed, all previous efforts would be wasted. Therefore, many martial mystic cultivators consumed 5 Seas pills before attempting to break through, to provide ample energy and spiritual power support. Moreover, 5 Seas pills contained the power to refine the lung lobes, making it easier to open the Qi Si. In the distance, Zuoqiu Beiming glanced at Li Wei and used spiritual Qi to transmit his thoughts. He appears to be meditating, but he's actually examining his heart. The next day will be excruciating. Life and death hang on his every thought. We're very close to the foot of the mountain. If we tried to escape, it would take only an instant, Zuoqiu Lanlan said. Zuoqiu Beiming sneered, with his cultivation, and with you. Why do you think he's sitting so far away? If he were resting normally, wouldn't he be right beside us? He's testing us. If we flee, it will reveal our guilt. Then he can kill us without a shred of remorse. For someone of his character, breaking through the moral barrier requires a justification. Senior brother, are you overthinking this? I don't think Sima Qin is that kind of person, Zuoqiu Lanlan said. Zuoqiu Beiming retorted angrily, haven't we paid enough for thinking too shallowly? Don't underestimate human nature. You only have one life. You just don't want to make the sacrifice, do you? I see you practically worship him, you're about to declare him a saint. Zuoqiu Lanlan's heart twisted in agony, plunging her into endless torment. Li Wei completed the construction of the 120 branch meridian bridges, his energy severely depleted. He couldn't help but feel anxious. If his breakthrough failed, he would have to wait another year. Let's begin. The 10 springs within him surged wildly, spiritual power flowing at maximum speed into the 120 string bridges. Each bridge followed a different path, converging like 100 rivers flowing into the sea, directly toward the central lung lobe. At that moment, Li Wei's breathing became incredibly long and deep. The surrounding air currents swirled, and the branches and leaves of the trees swayed gently. An unprecedented surge of intense pain and swelling erupted in his lungs, as if his chest were about to explode. Boom. Boom. The lung lobe pulsed rapidly and violently, like a heart beating at a frenzied pace. Boom. His body shuddered violently. All his spiritual power found a release, pouring into the innate world within his lung lobe, causing it to expand rapidly. The Qi Si has opened. Li Wei immediately swallowed a 5 Seas pill and a crimson haze herb, simultaneously activating the spatial power of the Buddha's relic to further expand the innate world within his lung lobe. He knew that the size of each martial mystic cultivator's first Qi Si varied greatly. The larger the Qi Si, the greater the advantage. Martial mystic cultivators who broke through to the 5 Seas realm with 7 springs typically had a first Qi Si of only 1 fang. Those who broke through with 8 springs breaking 5 Seas could reach 2 fang. Martial mystic cultivators who broke through with 9 springs started with a Qi Si of at least 3 fang. At the same cultivation level, the difference in the density of spiritual Qi among martial mystic cultivators could be several times over. The disparity in combat power was clear. 3 breaths later, Li Wei's first Qi Si reached 1 fang. 7 breaths later, it reached 2 fang. After a quarter of an hour, the Qi Si had expanded to 7 fang. The expansion rate slowed, becoming increasingly difficult. This was because the larger the innate world space, the thinner the spiritual Qi within it became. Li Wei had been continuously channeling his spiritual power to convert it, but it was far from enough. For a martial mystic cultivator in the first realm of the Five Seas realm, the process from breakthrough to fully filling their qi with spiritual qi and then completely tempering it often took several months. Just as Li Wei was giving his all to break through to the eighth fang, a pair of soft, delicate arms suddenly wrapped around his neck. Someone sat in his lap, a fragrant scent filling his nostrils, their body warm and yielding against him. What's going on? Li Wei had already deployed his 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors as guardians. How could someone have gotten so close to him? He couldn't afford to be distracted and continued his attack on the 8th square meter of his qi. Bang! Li Wei vaguely sensed someone strike the woman in his lap, knocking her unconscious. Curiosity piqued, he also breathed a silent sigh of relief before focusing all his energy on his qi. An hour later, the qi's size stabilized at 10 fang. Gradually, his consciousness fully returned to the outside world, and he opened his eyes. Xuanhuan Lanlan lay unconscious in his arms, her clothes disheveled, giving the impression of a setup. If anyone had seen this, not even jumping into the Sui River could wash away the stain on his reputation. Yin'er Shi-san, a massive figure, and a slender figure wearing fallen spirit skin sat on a stone several meters away, engaged in a secret conversation. When they saw him open his eyes, both immediately turned to look at him. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 2. Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 105-133, The Hidden Lord Yin Jun arrives. 105th of Volume 2. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Pure immortal physiques possess delicate, lustrous skin, as if transformed into immortals. This unique radiance is irresistible to any member of the opposite sex. Xuanhuan Lanlan's robes were loose, and she lay unconscious across his lap, her alluring charm captivating. Li Wei remained calm, struggling to maintain his composure. He gently pushed her, and her face slid from his shoulder to the ground. Standing up, he adjusted his slightly disheveled Nightwalker's garment and talisman robe, grateful for the thick layers he wore. Who did this? He demanded. Yin'er Shi-sis voice emerged from beneath the fallen spirit skin. See. I told you. Disrupting his plans would definitely make him angry. Li Wei knew Xuanhuan Lanlan well. As a noble lady of the sect, she was fiercely proud and would never humiliate herself without reason. He asked, did you do this? What method did you use? Coercion. Talismans. Psychic power. Illusion. A look of bewilderment flashed across Yin'er Shi-sis' eyes. You don't think I used some evil method like the 6 Desires talisman to lure her into your arms and make her act like that, do you? HMPH, I just couldn't stand watching anymore, so I knocked her out with a punch. Otherwise, it would have been, truly, unbearable to watch. Yin'er Shi-san, a bear like a barren, finished for her. Li Wei felt that Yin'er Shi-si had no reason to cause trouble. Such a joke was simply not to be played. But Xuanhuan Lanlan was a woman of such dignity and grace, recently widowed and still grieving. How could she possibly have initiated such a shameful act? There must be some inexplicable, bizarre phenomenon at play within 33 Li Mountain. In the distance, Xuanhuan Baiming lay unconscious on the ground. Li Wei turned his gaze to the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors perched in the tree above. He communicated with them, asking if they had witnessed anything suspicious earlier. The 7 little ones all spoke at once, their voices overlapping and incoherent. Some were evasive, others claimed to have seen 2 terrifying white shadows, and still others insisted that Xuanhuan Lanlan had been possessed, acting like a completely different person but being unusually kind to Li Wei. There was no single answer. Li Wei shook his head, not bothering to listen to them any further. 7 of them put together didn't have brains bigger than his finger. He walked slowly over and said, you 2 knocked her unconscious but left her in my arms. Were you deliberately trying to make me look foolish? Yin'er Shi-si replied, that's not true, Divine Hidden One. If we wanted to make you look foolish, we wouldn't have knocked her unconscious in the first place. Then you shouldn't have done it at all, Yin'er Shi-san added. Li Wei was exasperated. Continuing this argument would only make it dirtier. He spoke in a threatening tone, let's end this discussion here. Once we leave 33 Li Mountain, if I hear a 4th person knows about this, neither of you will fare well once I become the Divine Hidden One. Yin'er Shi-san, having never been threatened before, paled and nodded silently. Yin'er Shi-si, however, remained unconcerned. Pointing at Xuanhuan Lanlan on the ground, she laughed, she's the 4th person. Will you kill her, or shall I? She's still useful. Li Wei didn't dwell on the matter further. His expression turned serious as he asked, how did you 2 get into 33 Li Mountain? Yin'er Shi-si, have you broken through to the 2nd stage of the 5 Seas realm? Yin'er Shi-san said, Hidden Lord is here. Right in this immortal realm space. He captured a dead spirit and refined its skin into a talisman robe and human skin, which he used to smuggle us in. The hidden sect values rare cultivation resources like immortal soil, immortal haze-tainted herbs, and golden springs. Yin or Shi had already seized 2 immortal haze-tainted herbs from the martial mystic cultivators of the 4 great sects before entering the mountain, allowing her to open a second Qi. The vast majority of 5C's realm martial mystic cultivators gathered in the immortal realm space were after the immortal haze-tainted herbs, seeking rapid breakthroughs. Yin or Shi-san was envious, but there was nothing he could do. Yin or Shi had somehow obtained a high-grade blood-refined artifact, making her combat prowess terrifyingly formidable. She had even killed a 3rd realm expert from the Sui sect's 5C's realm. He possessed no such powerful treasure. One step ahead, and you're always ahead. The gap would only widen. This was why martial mystic cultivators would fight tooth and nail over a single treasure. Was it just a treasure? No, this was about changing one's destiny. Standing beneath the fallen spirit skin, Yin or Shi clasped her hands behind her back, chin tilted upward, and said lightly, 2nd realm of the 5C's realm is nothing. If I can gather another 4 or 5 of the same type of immortal haze-tainted herbs, I might even open a 3rd Qi in a short time. Only by reaching the 3rd realm can one truly be considered among the top young talents of Li province. Like a young girl, she became arrogant and conceited after achieving a little success. Li Wei shook his head with a smile and asked, how long have you been in the mountains? How many rare herbs have you found? Yin or Shi-san replied, we've only been here for a day. The immortal haze-tainted herbs near the foot of Zhuli Mountain has been almost completely harvested by Spring Surge Realm martial mystic cultivators from various sects. We've only found 2 so far. One can help a pure immortal physique undergo transformation, and the other can aid in opening a Qi. We originally planned to ascend 9 Li Mountain, but halfway there, Yin or Shi discovered your footprints and tracked you here. Li Wei looked at Yin or Shi in surprise. Not bad. You even remembered such a minor detail as my footprints. It wasn't just your footprints, Yin or Shi said, the lingering aura of Shangji's corpse still lingered in the air. On 33 Li Mountain, Li Wei's skill and courage allowed him to leave no trace of his passage. It wasn't surprising that she had tracked him. Yin or Shi asked, how many immortal haze-tainted herbs have you found? I've only been here half a day longer than you, Li Wei shrugged, forcing a wry smile, I haven't found anything yet. Yin or Shi said coldly, I went to the boundary of the Spring Surge Realm Qi barrier. Yaoyan said you've seized quite a few rare herbs from Spring Surge Realm martial mystic cultivators of the major powers. The ones Shi and Yin or Shi Wu took are also with you. Yin or Shi-san looked at Li Wei with eager eyes. Li Wei changed the subject, asking, has the path from the 5C's realm boundary to Yaoguan City been cleared? Yin Zhu and Kang Li have taken action. Who in the Dao Seed realm can stand against them? The Zhuli clan's Spring Surge Realm martial mystic cultivators should have already retreated. You don't need to worry about that, Yin or Shi-san replied. Yin or Shi continued, I've already taken 2 rare herbs to aid my pure immortal physique's transformation, achieving the half-immortal physique. But to break through to the 2nd stage of the 5C's realm, I'll likely need 3 more to complete the pure immortal physique transformation. Li Wei asked Yin or Shi-san, I suspect the outside world must be in turmoil, with the heavens and earth turned upside down. Why would Hidden Lord come to the immortal realm space at such a critical moment? Yin or Shi-san said, Hidden Lord didn't tell us, but I suspect he's here for more than just the opportunities and treasures. He must have a grander scheme in mind. Let's go pay our respects to him after we descend the mountain. Yin or Shi approached Li Wei, leaning close to his ear, you owe me a favor. If I hadn't intervened earlier, the consequences would have been disastrous. You'd probably have had to marry into the Zuaoqiu sect to settle the matter. I'm asking for 3 immortal haze-tainted herbs. That's not excessive at all. Li Wei finally turned to her, his gaze sharp. Rare herbs. Rare herbs. Stop thinking about getting something for nothing. How much does a single rare herb cost? Ask Yin or Shi Wu. He bought some from me before. However, there's a chance to see some rare herbs right now. I didn't originally intend to share this with you, I could have handled it myself. Since you're here, contribute your strength and help us catch them all, not one left behind. But let me be clear, each of you will only get 3 immortal haze-tainted herbs. Everything else, rare herbs, spiritual artifacts, golden springs, immortal soil, all goes to me. Li Wei was willing to offer such a generous reward because he suddenly realized he might have underestimated the insight and intelligence of 5C's realm experts. Once Shui Qi and the others discovered the complete annihilation of the San Chen Palace and Coffin Mountain, they would undoubtedly descend the mountain with extreme caution. Or they might choose a different route altogether. Trying to ambush them by waiting like a fool under a tree. Their prey probably isn't that stupid. Li Wei then explained his plan to hunt and seize their targets. Yin or Shi-san was shocked, thinking he'd misheard. Ambush the 4 great sects in Heavenly Cliff Ridge. You mean ambush all of them on their way down the mountain? I think we should just ambush some Spring Surge Realm martial mystic cultivators. Aim higher. This opportunity is incredibly rare, Li Wei said. Yin or Shi countered, that's impossible. Chen Song, Di Ran, and Shui Qi, either they have pure immortal physiques or are 9 Springs Supremes. I can handle one of them with my 3-headed serpent blood soul, without any problem. But the other 2, plus the demon race experts from Heavenly Cliff Ridge, will definitely seize this chance to kill you and Yin or Shi-san. How long can you 2 hold out? Do you think I'm relying on you? Li Wei stripped off his Nightwalker's garment and tossed it to her. Put this on and scout the mountain. Report back immediately when they start descending. That's your mission. Oh, and be careful. There's a giant head humanoid creature on the mountain. If you encounter it, run immediately. Yin or Shi-si stared intently at Li Wei. As a hidden one at the second stage of the 5 Seas realm, was she really being sent to scout? She asked with a smile, so confident, have you broken through to the 5 Seas realm? Li Wei also smiled. Whether I've broken through or not, defeating you shouldn't be difficult. HMPH. Yin or Shi-si donned her Nightwalker's garment, completely concealing herself. She raised her slender, jade-white half-immortal physique arm, revealing the 3-headed serpent bracelet. I have a serpent. She vanished into the shadows and ascended the mountain. Though she has a temper, she's obedient enough. Li Wei's gaze fell on Zhuoku Lanlin, who lay on the ground in disarray. He quickly called out, don't leave yet. Put her clothes back on. Li Wei dispatched Yin or Shi-san to carry the unconscious Zhuoku sect members down the mountain. He then practiced the Jade Void breathing technique, entering a state of absolute tranquility, only I remain in the world, and turned his gaze inward to his first Qi. This tiny lung lobe had opened up into an innate world spanning 10 directions, resembling an irregularly shaped, transparent cloud. The spatial walls of the Qi were tinged with immortal haze, shimmering with iridescent light. Inside, the layer of spiritual Qi was thin, barely half a fang cubic meter. This was the result of the breakthrough moment when a surge of spiritual power had poured in and transformed. Now, even with all 10 springs flowing simultaneously, and spiritual power constantly flowing in and transforming from his 120 string meridians, the rate of increase remained remarkably slow. It'll probably take 3 or 4 days of cultivation to convert a single full FAMG cubic meter. To advance to the second Qi, I must first cultivate the first to perfection. Otherwise, rushing ahead will only lead to failure. It was like laying bricks or stacking wood, a monotonous, repetitive process, yet an indispensable step in constructing a towering skyscraper. Li Wei didn't know that his 10th spring divine gate was extraordinary. It gushed forth liquid spiritual power, capable of accelerating his cultivation speed to an unbelievable degree. Martial mystic cultivators who had reached the 7 springs breaking 5 Seas stage typically had their first Qi only 1 fang square foot cubic meter in size. It would take them 2 or 3 months to cultivate it to completion. Li Wei, however, needed only 3 or 4 days to achieve the same, making his cultivation speed dozens of times faster. After breaking through, the purity of my spiritual Qi has indeed improved. But it's still gaseous, not liquid, and not as potent as the divine gate. Li Wei released his psychic power into the blood-mud space to consult Master Guan about refining the spiritual Qi in his Qi. Master Guan's voice echoed, once you break through to the 5 Seas realm, your spiritual Qi undergoes its first transformation at that very moment. However, to open a second Qi, you must rely on the spiritual Qi within your first. Therefore, before attempting to break through to the second stage of the 5 Seas realm, you must fill your first Qi with spiritual Qi and further refine it to enhance its grade. Li Wei asked, you've been mentioning the grade of spiritual Qi. What exactly are the grades of spiritual Qi? Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 2. Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 106-134 Descending the Mountain. 106th of Volume 2. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Master Guan said, internal spiritual power transforms into external spiritual Qi. From the moment when the 4th spring is opened, and the spiritual power can initially leave the body, each cultivation realm advancement elevates the grade of your spiritual Qi. Spring Surging Realm Spiritual Qi has 6 levels, the 5 Seas Realm Spiritual Qi also has 6 levels. You're quite special. You cultivated a 10th spring. At the 10th spring, your spiritual Qi's level already rivals first level 5 Seas Realm Spiritual Qi. Li Wei asked, so now, I'm equivalent to second level 5 Seas Realm Spiritual Qi. 5 Seas Realm Spiritual Qi has 6 levels, first level is void, second level is real tangible, third and fourth levels multiply by 10. Fifth level resides in the Fengfu Acupoint Wind Mansion and sixth level in the Ancestral Field. Success or failure depends entirely on resources. Master Guan continued, can you now use your spiritual Qi to condense tangible attack forces? For example, spitting out flying swords or conjuring walls with a wave of your hand. That's the second level spiritual Qi that only martial mystic cultivators in the second stage of the 5 Seas realm can refine. Li Wei tried a few times and shook his head. Not yet. Take your time. With your current cultivation, you can begin studying the law scriptures. Use the refining methods in the law scriptures to refine the spiritual qi in your qi. Master Guan said, I can teach you the Night Emperor Manual. The Night Emperor was a renowned ancient son of heaven in history. This manual's qi tempering technique for the 5 Seas realm is particularly unique. The Night Emperor Manual was Master Guan's ancestral manual and the strongest cultivation technique he could offer. Actually, you could also consider cultivating the Zhu Li tribes, heavenly demon tome, Master Coffin suggested. Master Guan retorted, Old Coffin, you yourself said that the Zhu Li tribe's cultivation manual is partially damaged, with the content beyond the immortal realm incomplete. Why would you have him cultivate the heavenly demon tome? What will happen in the future? Master Coffin replied, it's just the qi tempering technique. It won't have a major impact. In the 5 Seas realm, I think the heavenly demon tomes qi tempering technique is slightly superior to the Night Emperor Manual's qi tempering technique. It won't be too late to cultivate the Night Emperor Manual once he reaches the Dao Seed realm. Alright, let's start with the heavenly demon tomes qi tempering art, then. It's hard to say what level the god of the Zhu Li truly reached, but his eldest son, Azure King, came incredibly close to becoming an ancient son of heaven 4,000 years ago. In the Lingxiao realm, only that freakish woman from Zhenxi, Zhenhai Guanwu, has managed to surpass him in the past tens of thousands of years and truly become the son of heaven of the era, Master Guan said. Li Wei continued to inquire, first level void, second level real, I understand that. But the third and fourth tiers multiply by 10. Does that mean that when a martial mystic cultivator breaks through to the third stage of the 5 Seas realm, the concentration of their spiritual qi is 10 times that of a second stage martial mystic cultivator? Master Guan replied, the third stage is indeed a major turning point, but it's not quite that exaggerated. If you consider second level 5 Seas realm spiritual qi to be 1, then upon breaking through to the third stage of the 5 Seas realm, the purity of your spiritual qi instantly doubles. A martial mystic cultivator who refines their spiritual qi to perfection in the third stage of the 5 Seas realm achieves roughly 3 times in the purity. Upon first breaking through to the fourth stage, it becomes 4 times. And so on. Martial mystic cultivators in the 5th stage of the 5 Seas realm can generally refine their spiritual qi to 10 times in the purity. This continuous refinement process is what constitutes the 3rd and 4th levels of spiritual qi. A single fold difference in spiritual qi purity could be heaven and earth apart, allowing a martial mystic cultivator to crush their opponents in battle. The difference between the 2nd and 5th stages of the 5 Seas realm could be as vast as tenfold. And with the existence of 5th and 6th levels, the gap must be even greater. Li Wei's expression turned solemn. Looks like maintaining at least a 2-realm advantage after entering the 5 Seas realm will be much harder. Especially against those with pure immortal physiques and 9 springs, trying to suppress them by 2 realms would be nearly impossible. Master Guan fell silent for a moment before reminding him, once you enter the 5 Seas realm, remember to cultivate battle intent. Choose your favorite or most powerful move from the Chan sect's 12 dispersed hands and integrate it with your essence, qi, and spirit. This should allow you to cultivate a battle intent. Master Guan is right. Battle intent might be the breakthrough, Li Wei said, his fighting spirit rekindled, my qi is larger than most cultivators, and my spiritual qi is even more potent. I should be able to cultivate several battle intents. Cultivate one first. It's best to master a single battle intent through constant cultivation. Greed for quantity isn't always beneficial. Master Guan said nothing more. Next, Master Coffin began teaching the qi tempering art from the heavenly demon tome. Yin'er Shi-san returned and reported to Li Wei, as instructed, I left them by the river at the foot of the mountain and hid nearby until they woke up before leaving. They should have returned to the camp at the foot of the mountain by now. The Zuoqiu clan is powerful, and Zuoqiu Ting is a leader among the younger generation. It's best not to offend them if possible. Li Wei asked, Yin'er Shi-san, you're a 9 springs supreme, right? How big is your first qi? 3 fang cubic meter, Yin'er Shi-san replied. Li Wei said, only 3 fang. I've heard some people can cultivate qis of 4 or 5 fang cubic meter. That's only possible for those with 100 silver meridians. There are only a handful of such individuals in the entire southern territory, Yin'er Shi-san explained. Li Wei then asked, have you refined your spiritual qi to the level where a single thought can solidify it? 1 thought solidification. Second level spiritual qi. Yin'er Shi-san chuckled awkwardly, even martial mystic cultivators in the 2nd realm of the 5 Seas realm take months, even a year or 2, to refine 2nd level qi. Can you kill someone across realms? I mean, kill them outright, not just hold your own, Li Wei pressed. I'll go scout ahead. What if the martial mystic cultivators from the 4 great sects sense danger and split up? Yin'er Shi-san quickly departed, disappearing into the forest. Li Wei made his assessment, muttering to himself, a 9 springs supreme without a pure immortal physique. Their combat strength seems limited to dominating within their own realm. Killing across realms will likely be difficult. Perhaps I can break even by picking off the weaker ones. One day later. Shui Qi, clutching a blade in one hand and a banner in the other, was fleeing for his life through the forest. His heart still pounding in terror, he couldn't even spare a glance back at the martial mystic cultivators pursuing him. Who are they? How did such formidable figures suddenly appear? Did they kill Chen Song and Di Ran too? His mind raced, his body a blur as he plunged down the mountain. Even when he reached a cliff, he simply leapt over it. He could already hear the roar of the river below, and joy surged through him. Once he reached the foot of the mountain, they wouldn't dare continue the chase. Suddenly, a deafening whoosh filled the air. A 10-meter-long blade of fire, like a scorching crimson tidal wave, crashed toward him. The surrounding trees instantly ignited. Shui Qi, the most talented member of the Shui clan's younger generation, could hold his own against a third-stage 5 Seas realm cultivator. His combat prowess was naturally extraordinary. His war blade instinctively swung out. Boom. The incoming blade of fire, though already weakened from its long flight, still struck him with overwhelming force, sending him flying backward. Shui Qi crashed heavily to the ground, his back slamming into a gentle slope. His hand, still gripping the blade, was soaked in blood, his fingers numb with pain. Don't run. The fox demon of Heavenly Cliff Ridge has already been slain. You're next. A calm, clear voice echoed from the forest ahead. Thud. The headless fox demon's corpse tumbled down, crashing heavily beside Shui Qi. Shui Qi struggled to remain composed. This fox demon was one of the top cultivators in the second realm of the 5 Seas realm. They had just separated moments ago, each attempting to break through in different directions. How powerful was their enemy to have killed the fox demon so quickly? He soon spotted the figure. The person, clad in a talismanic robe, stood on a branch dozens of meters above the ground, holding the heavenflame blade. Their posture was upright and heroic, their presence extraordinary. Like a phantom, yet radiating the aura of an absolute powerhouse. Shui Qi rose to his feet, his mind reeling. You're not wearing the fallen spirit skin. You're only in the first realm of the 5 Seas realm. Finally, someone has correctly identified my cultivation level. Li Wei thought, his heart filled with emotion. He tucked the hand holding the heavenflame blade behind his back, his form wavering and blurring before vanishing from the branch. Not good. Shui Qi immediately channeled his spiritual qi into the white yin banner. Ignoring the banner, Li Wei descended from the sky, his body and hand seals forming a devastating attack. A heaven-turning divine seal, as large as a millstone, materialized. Dragons coiled around its body, making it even more solid than when Shui Qi had used it before his breakthrough. It emitted a faint golden glow. The divine seal filled Shui Qi's vision. Boom. The white yin banner shattered into 3 pieces. The divine seal's shadow slammed Shui Qi into a bloody pulp, causing the ground beneath him to suddenly collapse. Floating down into the massive crater, Li Wei first retrieved the battle saber before continuing his search. Amidst the bloody pulp, he found a storage pouch. Li Wei infused it with spiritual qi and opened it, a wave of joy surging through him. Inside were not only crimson haze herbs but also a pound of immortal soil. Yin Shi Si and Yin Shi San arrived moments later, one after the other. When they saw the fox demon's corpse and Shui Qi's gruesome remains, they were stunned. They knew Li Wei was strong, but this level of power defied comprehension. Shui Qi and the fox demon were both top-tier experts in the second stage of the 5 Seas realm. How could they have died so quickly? Have you cleaned up? Li Wei asked. We'll do it right now. The two quickly returned to the forest. Li Wei instructed, remember, only target hostile forces like Heavenly Cliff Ridge and the 4 great sects. Don't be too greedy, spare the martial mystic cultivators from other factions. Let them all go. After descending the mountain from a different direction, Li Wei gave Yin Shi Si and Yin Shi San 3 crimson haze herbs each. He then gathered the remaining spoils of war into 5 storage pouches, stowing them away himself. Now that you've received your reward, you must keep silent about what happened on the mountain. Don't tell the Hidden Lord later, Li Wei instructed. Yin Shi Si was naturally resentful but had no choice but to comply. She sneered, the 4 great sects, Xuanhuan, and Heavenly Cliff Ridge were all wiped out in one fell swoop. Such a massive event will soon cause an uproar. The stakes are enormous. Can you really handle it? Do you think the Hidden Lord won't know we were responsible? Li Wei glanced back. The immortal mist clouds of 33 Li Mountain were receding from the base to the summit, revealing the mountain's majestic grandeur. Could the Bone Sea Plain and Blood Moon Lake really be hidden within the mountain? Could a single mountain truly contain them? He replied, 33 Li Mountain is fraught with danger and complex factions. Anything is possible. As long as we deny involvement, who can prove it was us? I've told you many times, I am the divine hidden one of this cycle. Follow my orders and arrangements. I won't let you down. Yin Shi San, lead the way. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 2. Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 107, 135, Yin Yin Shi San. 107th of Volume 2. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. At the mountain camp, a great river surged past, its current swift and turbulent. Zhuo Qiuting closed his folding fan, as still as a clay statue, seated within his tent. For the second time, he listened to Zhuo Beiming and Zhuo Lanlan recount their experience in the mountains, leaving out no detail. Two elders, both nearing a century in age, stood behind him on either side, their eyes occasionally flashing with murderous intent. In the southern territory, someone had dared to defy the Zhuo sect, and with such ruthless brutality, aiming to wipe them out completely. Judging the whole from apart, this wasn't merely a dispute over immortal soil, it showed that the disciples of Heavenly Cliff Ridge, Coffin Mountain, Sui sect, and San Chen Palace held no respect for the Zhuo sect, the absolute rulers of the southern territory. Without respect, acts of rebellion would only increase, just like the current situation with the Lingxiao Palace. The white-bearded elder standing behind Zhuo Qiuting's left side sneered, "The actions from Heavenly Cliff Ridge and Coffin Mountain are understandable. After all, the four extremes Ape King and the Forbidden One are truly formidable, so their disciples naturally have a strong foundation. But what are the Sui sect and San Chen Palace? Young master, this matter demands a clear explanation, or they'll likely assume the southern territory has changed hands." Zhuo Beiming reached for his still agonizing broken leg, his expression filled with resentment. He said in a low voice, "The Sui sect is too arrogant. They don't even show respect for the Zhuo sect. Even a junior from the Shui clan shows no respect for us. We've been too lenient these past years. They've come to see the Zhuo sect as the Zhu clan, thinking the ancient myriad sects are mere clay statues." Zhuo Lanlan's eyes were red-rimmed. Brother Che was devoured directly by Ran. Coffin Mountain's ruthlessness surpasses even that of the Sui sect. Zhuo Beiming said, "Many southern territory powers have joined forces. We can no longer afford to be complacent. If we don't break them up, once they take Li province, they'll inevitably turn their sights on us next." Zhuo Qiuting's expression remained calm, his thoughts drifting to 33 Li Mountain. "According to your account, you were with Sima Qin when you were knocked unconscious." Zhuo Lanlan's face, previously etched with sorrow and resentment, flushed crimson instantly. She dared not meet his gaze. "Yes." Zhuo Beiming continued, "It must have been the Sui sect and Heavenly Cliff Ridge who ambushed us. I only regret that my fallen spirit skin was shattered. Otherwise, even if I'd lost a leg, I wouldn't have fallen victim to such a sneak attack." Zhuo Qiuting said, "But you were safely escorted down the mountain, and none of your immortal soil or rare medicine was lost." Zhuo Lanlan said, "Sima Qin must have saved us. His combat strength is probably on par with senior brother Bai Ming's. Moreover, he cultivates 7 rare insects. For the Sui sect and Heavenly Cliff Ridge to provoke him is simply courting death. Given time, he'll undoubtedly become a prominent figure in the Southern Territory's younger generation of martial mystic practitioners." Zhuo Qiuting looked at Zhuo Lanlan in surprise, sensing they were hiding something. He chuckled, "Is he really that strong? Sister Lanlan rarely praises a young man so highly." Zhuo Lanlan spared no praise, his cultivation and combat prowess are secondary. It's his extraordinary charisma and rare moral character that set him apart. Otherwise, how could we have survived descending the mountain? Senior brother Bai Ming, isn't that right? Zhuo Beiming had no idea what had happened after he fainted, not even sure if he'd been knocked out by the 7 rare insects. Who knew if the two of them had already been up to something illicit on the mountain? He said, "Young master, the immortal mist clouds have dispersed, but Sima Qin hasn't descended. I suspect he left through another route, and he's likely pocketed the vast quantities of immortal haze-tainted herbs and golden spring he seized from the martial mystic cultivators of the San Chen Palace and Coffin Mountain." Zhuo Beiming didn't know that the Sui sect and Heavenly Cliff Ridge had also been ambushed, their entire forces wiped out. Zhuo Lanlan said, "Sima Qin might have encountered danger." Zhuo Beiming sneered, "If he'd escorted us down, why didn't he return to camp with us? It's clear he wanted to keep the treasures for himself." Zhuo Qiuting didn't want to listen to the arguments of the two of them any longer. He rose and walked out of the tent, gazing at the lush, towering 33 Li Mountain. The air was fresh, thick with the energy of the law. The immortal mist clouds had already retreated to the mountain peak. If any 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators were still lingering in the mountain, they would have undoubtedly spontaneously combusted by now. He walked toward the stone stele at the mountain entrance. There, hundreds of figures, carriages, and strange beasts had gathered. In this immortal realm space, almost all the immortal haze-tainted herbs in the explorable areas had been harvested, leaving only the eerie, majestic 33 Li Mountain as a source. Naturally, everyone had converged here. Who wouldn't want to undergo a pure immortal physique transformation? Who wouldn't want to quickly break through their cultivation, join the ranks of the younger generation's elite, and watch the world's winds and clouds shift from a position of power? As for the unexplored depths of the immortal realm space, Dowseed realm elders had been perishing one after another. The latest news was that even an immortal realm giant had fallen within, making the danger terrifying. Many were already considering retreat. In front of the massive, wall-like stone stele, the younger generation martial mystic cultivators from various major powers were engaged in heated debate, as if some major incident had occurred. The leaders of the four great sects, Heavenly Cliff Ridge, and Coffin Mountain all wore grim expressions. Unable to wait any longer for Shui Qi, Chen Song, and Di Ran to return, they had dispatched Spring Surge Realm martial mystic cultivators into the mountain to search. The search party returned carrying a large number of corpses. The corpses lay stripped of all treasures and wealth. It was clear this was the work of human malice, not some mountain mystery. Who could have done this? If I find out, I'll boil them, fry them, eat their flesh, and sleep on their skin. Miadi's fury burned uncontrollably. He could only vent his rage with such threats while secretly observing the crowd. Such targeted strikes. Could it be the work of the Zhu clan? Shishi's mind flashed with the image of Sima Qin, but he doubted the man's cultivation was sufficient to orchestrate such a large-scale operation. Could it be the legendary Zhu hidden sect that had struck? The Shishi Dharma king is sharp, pinpointing the key point with a single sentence. This was a coordinated attack aimed at the four great sects, and Heavenly Cliff Ridge has also been caught in the crossfire. Chen Wenwu added, a vast quantity of spiritual artifacts, immortal haze-tainted herbs, and golden spring have been stolen. Most likely, these will soon flood the market. If we investigate, we're bound to trace the source. The Sanchen Palace will have its revenge. The Sanchen Palace had lost two of its 3 springs supreme from the younger generation. The loss was truly devastating. Now, only Chen Wenwu remained. Zhuo Qiuting silently observed the corpses laid out on the ground, a growing smile spreading across his face. He thought to himself, Li Wei, what a wicked Li Wei. How many treasures did he steal? He used my Zhuoqiu sect's talisman robe to enter the mountain, made a fortune beyond measure, and then fled with his loot. But can he really escape justice? Is the hidden lord here? Li Wei scanned the low, rolling hills before him. The unobstructed view stretched for dozens of miles without a trace of human life. There was no sign of the hidden lord's presence. Whoosh! On a small hill only a few dozen meters high, a crack suddenly appeared, and an invisible curtain of mist parted. The hidden lord's tall, imposing figure materialized. He wore a metal mask and a black robe, radiating an aura of authority even from afar. Wei Yi, he called out, how has your cooperation with the Zhuoqiu sect been? Have you managed to unearth any immortal soil for them? Li Wei examined the curtain of mist, noticing the formation glyphs woven into it. He quickly ascended the hill and reported, we've unearthed nearly a pound of immortal soil, along with a large quantity of spiritual soil. Zhuoqiu Beiming has already taken it down the mountain. A pound is a bit less than I'd hoped, but establishing a connection with the Zhuoqiu sect is the most important thing. You'll have many opportunities to collaborate with them in the future. Speaking of which, it was me who personally invited the Zhuoqiu sect's founding ancestor to Li Province, the hidden lord said. Yin'er Shi and Yin'er Shi San followed Li Wei up the hill, their expressions natural, careful not to reveal the truth about his unauthorized departure and self-enrichment. Li Wei felt a slight tremor of unease. Isn't the hidden sect supposed to remain hidden? Why not have Kang Li, the inheritor, handle the cooperation? And when you invited the Zhuoqiu sect's founding ancestor, didn't that expose the hidden sect's existence? The hidden lord, who never smiled in front of other hidden ones, chuckled. For 1,000 years, as the two transcendent powers of the southern territory, the Zhuoqiu sect and the Zhu clan have been probing each other. The most intense probing has always been done by the hidden sects. You don't think the Zhuoqiu sect doesn't have its own hidden sect? For the million of sects, ancient myriad clans, and various factions, the existence of hidden sects is an open secret. The hidden sects of the Zhu clan and the Zhuoqiu sect compete and secretly battle each other. But they also cooperate to eliminate any other southern territory powers that might grow into ancient myriad sects or factions. This dirty work is always done by the two hidden sects. They won't allow a third ancient myriad power to emerge in the southern territory. Furthermore, to secure the Zhuoqiu sect's support, the Zhu clan, especially the hidden sect, must demonstrate the strength expected of an ancient myriad clan and offer a sufficiently high price. Li Wei sensed something extraordinary in the hidden lord's words. His expression turned grave. Has the situation become so dire that we must seek the Zhuoqiu sect's help to survive this crisis? The hidden lord's gaze deepened. Heavenly Cliff Ridge's involvement was unexpected. No one anticipated the demon race would dare interfere in the struggle for dominance. Of course, even now, we don't necessarily need the Zhuoqiu sect's help. But if there's an easier way to solve the problem, why endure the hardship alone? Wei Yi, if you're going to be a divine hidden one, you must understand one principle. As a leader, you can't just focus on how to defeat your enemies at all costs. You must also consider how to minimize casualties among your own forces while achieving victory. The Hidden Ones follows you, so you must take care of them. The 7 southern provinces are a battleground of competing powers, barbarian bandits, sects, powerful clans, sects, demon races, gangs. The strong are everywhere. To survive, you must seek allies wherever possible. We need allies, and the Zuoqiu sect needs them too. Beside the Hidden Lord stood 2 figures in black robes, who had been observing Li Wei. How should I address these 2? Li Wei turned his gaze toward them. One of the figures, with fair skin and a soft, round face that made him look to be in his early 20s, stepped forward. He showed no disrespect despite Li Wei's relatively shallow cultivation, clasped his hands in a respectful gesture, and said with a smile, Yin Shi-san. Yin. The other man was shorter, with a gaunt face and deep, brooding eyes. His aura was heavy, making him appear to be in his 30s or 40s. Both were clad in high-grade spiritual artifact Nightwalker's garments. The only difference was that a corner of a blue brocade official robe could be seen beneath Yin Shi-san's garment, hinting at his extraordinary status. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.